Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live show. The Sunday show is back, covering everything over the weekend from Manchester United, the game, everything that's happening off the pitch. We're going to get into it. We've got a panel coming on. We've got plenty of guests. We've got James. We've got Owen is back tonight as well to discuss everything. Harry Maguire back into Manchester United centre-back. He's back. He's Harry Maguire, El Capitano, whatever you want to say about him. He's performing according to the stats. Now, that may be a different opinion for everyone else. You can look at it whichever way you want to do, but we're going to get into that tonight and discuss that. Sancho, though, looks like end of the road. New director of football, looks like that's nailed on. We've got plenty to talk about, but obviously, first of all, we cannot go anywhere in a live show without talking and just mentioning and paying tribute to an absolute legend of Manchester United. Not only Manchester United, but a legend of world football in Sir Bobby Charlton, who sadly passed away yesterday. It has been a very, very difficult weekend for Manchester United and the footballing world in general. Listening to people getting emotional, talking about Sir Bobby Charlton. I've listened to a lot of ex-pros and everyone else around the world. And it's been hard. It's been hard to watch. I've teared up myself a few times. As a United fan, I was brought up. My granddad told me everything I needed to know about Manchester United. From when he used to maintain and clean the car of Paddy Crerand all the way through the Busby Babe era. But Sir Bobby Charlton, I think, epitomises everything that is right in world football. He is a gentleman. He is Manchester United. This man had teams built around him. Sir Alf Ramsey with the England team built around Sir Bobby Charlton. The Manchester United team built around Sir Bobby. This man, at the age of 20, had to deal with tragedy, with the Munich disaster. He had to live with that through his whole career. He became a man from a boy. Harry Gregg dragging him out of that air crash. He had to mature more quickly than any player, with the pressure that was heaped on his shoulders and the responsibility that man had to carry Manchester United forwards. An absolutely unbelievable man, unbelievable footballer, and rightly so, has had a lot of tributes paid to him this weekend. I've not seen one fan actually come out with anything bad to say about Sir Bobby Charlton. He is an absolute legend. What he's done off the pitch as well, dedicating his life to football. Sir Bobby Charlton, soccer school, David Beckham came through that. He literally started that up because he was concerned how England were performing after the 66 World Cup. The 70 and 74, non-existent. He wanted to do his bit to give England that chance. He created that soccer school. He dedicated his time to football and rightly so deserves every tribute that he has got. For me and all United fans, this one's for you, Sir Bobby. Thank you for the memories. Absolutely brilliant man. We move on. Guys, I'm going to have a little sup of that. It was quite emotional just talking about Sir Bobby then, actually, to be honest. But yeah, that was my piece. It did hit me hard this weekend. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, it was difficult. I think for me, one of the best clips from this weekend was Michael Carrick when he said he was there, stood on the sidelines, looking on the big screen at Middlesbrough's game against Birmingham. He was stood there watching that screen. He had Wayne Rooney stood next to him in the opposite dugout, and he forgot about football for about 3 minutes. He just went down memory lane. And this is like a big game. This is how much Bobby meant to so many people in world football. And I think it's only right we started the show tonight with this tribute. And obviously, condolences go out to the Charlton family. We love Sir Bobby. And thank you for the memories. Absolute legend, real football legend. Devastating news this weekend. And I'm just thankful that the boys turned up last night. And the goal fitting of Sir Bobby Charlton's career, an absolute humdinger from Diogo Dalot last night. I couldn't have picked a better goal to celebrate what has been a fantastic career in football. Thank you, Sir Bobby. You'll never be forgotten. On with the show, guys. We have football to talk about. We have a lot to talk about with Manchester United. I'm just going to bring on my first guest, James. Quickly, just wanted to shout out a new member, Daz Salford 69. Absolutely brilliant. Cheers for joining the cheers for joining the crew. New member Daz, all perks, and there is a lot coming up perk-wise for the member section as well, guys. I have some big announcements coming up very, very soon on the channel. So if you are interested, more will be revealed, but any contribution to the channel is much appreciated as always. Your daily content will be coming thick and fast, but there will be plenty coming back your way as well. So do hit that join button if you are interested. And yes, onwards and upwards. Cheers for joining, everyone. I can see the chat building up already. Brilliant stuff. First guest, he was on last week, spoke really well. I thought it was only right to get him back on tonight. James Dixon, how are we doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You?
I am not too bad at all, mate. It's good to actually sort of sit back on a Sunday having won a game and watching some decent football today. Brilliant game between Villa and West Ham. Villa looking very, very dangerous. But yeah, overall, sad weekend. Bit of a bittersweet one, James.
Yeah, it definitely was, mate. Great words from yourself. And I think it has been a really tough weekend. And I'm going to try and speak on it. And I don't think anyone can really do it justice. But yeah, Sir Bobby Charlton, legend of Manchester United Football Club, legend of English football. And I just want to touch on his career a little bit, because there's a lot of people that may not have followed his career or heard about his career or read about his career and may not understand why the footballing world is so broken over the news that broke yesterday. So Bobby Charlton turned 86 about 11, 12 days ago. He came through to Manchester United when he was 18. He was brought through, and obviously he was the last remaining survivor of the Munich air disaster in 58. He was a Ballon d'Or winner. He won the Ballon d'Or in 66. He came second in 67 and in 68. He won it all. He won the World Cup with England. He won the European Cup with United. He won the League. He won the FA Cup. He won the Community Shield. He was the all-time goal scorer for Manchester United for 50 years until Wayne Rooney took over. He was the all-time goal scorer for England for 50 years until Wayne Rooney took over. And he was part of the Holy Trinity that you see in the statue outside Old Trafford with Dennis Law and Georgie Best. And that team, it's really hard to put into words how great that team was and how great that team could have been, the original team. And if you just try and put it into perspective, like imagine like losing 8 of our players now. Like you're losing 8 of our first team players. Not only does the rest of your squad have to deal with the loss, you have to recoup. Your manager has to recoup. Everything has to recoup. And by the way, we had the help of the footballing world at that time. So thank you very much to all of the clubs that helped Manchester United. But the fact that, within 5 years of that disaster, we'd won the FA Cup. Within 7 years we'd won the league. We won the league in 65. We won the league again in 67, and then Sir Bobby lifted it in 68, the European Cup. It's the greatest football story that's ever been told, mate. It really is. And Sir Bobby was the person that lifted those trophies. He was a centerpiece of that. And when people talk about the great stories in sport, it's impossible to leave the one of Sir Matt Busby and Sir Bobby Charlton out of it. So it's been a huge weekend. His legacy will live on. I used to have a season ticket in the South Stand at Old Trafford, and when I did, Sir Bobby sat just behind me in the director's box, and I used to see him regularly in games. Never got the privilege to speak to him, but I used to see him quite a lot. Always in attendance at home games. I remember when they opened his stand, we were looking across at it, and I remember him standing there at the naming ceremony kind of thing of the stand, and he was so proud. And I've got a lot of good memories of, like a lot of people, my granddad speaking about Sir Bobby growing up, and it really, really hit home. But it just hit home that this is what Manchester United is all about. Manchester United is built on just coming through adversity, and people think at the moment that we're going through tough times, and they try and make comparisons. And I think Manchester United have risen from the ashes. Like Manchester United can do everything. So every time I hear someone say, oh, it's doom and gloom, it's the end of Manchester United, we're never coming back, I'm like, educate yourself. You don't know what we've been through. You don't know what we've come back from. Like Manchester United will come back. Manchester United always come back. That's what Manchester United are, and that's what Manchester United do. So yeah, tough weekend for most, but yeah, rest in peace, Sir Bobby. And sorry I don't have an actual drink, but yeah, rest in peace, mate. And best wishes to Lady Mom.
Well said, Jimbo. Well said. I don't know what he would actually think of today's game. He was always very polite in his words to Bobby, but I'm guessing deep down inside, he'd be like a lot of us going, what the hell is going on? I've got another guest coming on. Absolutely buzzing to get my man Owen back on. He's not been on the show for a while. Since we started up, I thought it was only right to get Owen back on.
Hello, boys.
Owen, how are you doing, lad? How's it going?
Not too bad, mate. How are you?
We're not too bad at all, mate. We're not too bad. Looking at that, a bit of a sad weekend, but football, we got the win in the end, and so, got to look at it and try and move on.
I was watching it. I was over with the missus in the north of Ireland in Tyrone, and I was in a bar, and most people were focused on the rugby, and I got them to put it on the screen. And when Dallo scored, I knocked over a couple of pints. I kissed a couple of blokes. I went absolutely berserk. It was mental. But again, about Sir Bobby, I was literally on the plane going to Belfast and seeing the news broke. And I'll be honest, like, I know he's 86 and he's obviously lived a good life, and it's what you could any person can only hope for in terms of the life that he's lived. But it's still sad to see him go. Of course it is. He's the last person, the last one of the babes, and it's obviously it's horrible and it's very heartbreaking as a United fan. And he's an absolute hero and a legend. And I just honestly can't wait for the derby now. And I hope that rises up every player in that squad to go out and put a fucking absolute performance in and batter them at Old Trafford. That's it, all, mate. I'm hoping it does.
That is it, mate. Any Manchester, we'll call them Manchester fans. Obviously, we're worldwide, but obviously the passing of Franny Lee for City, to Bobby Charlton for Manchester United. This Manchester derby has got it's got so much involved in it, and hopefully the club do put on a fitting tribute in that for both players, legends of both sides of Manchester. That really should be one derby to remember. Hopefully on the pitch it goes our way, but obviously there are bigger things than football. Just like our man Alien, who just wants to know how the kids are doing. Owen, mate, welcoming you back big time.
Kids are all right. Don't have any children yet. I mean, I've got a new missus now. She's from Stretford. She's lovely, but I don't have any children yet, mate. No children on the way. No plans for it anytime soon. I am 24, so
yeah.
But yeah, no, very loved up, all loved up with our new missus, but no plans for any kids.
Let's get into it anyway. Good to hear, mate. Anyway, the game yesterday. Let's get started there because there's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of talk regarding our former captain, Harry Maguire. Obviously, he had an all right game yesterday, I thought. I mean, I don't think anyone really pulled up trees yesterday. I don't think it was a good performance from any player in particular. But Harry Maguire is getting a lot of praise. I mean, I've seen this more as a sort of agenda-driven sort of stat attack in a good sense for Harry Maguire. I mean, there's a stat that came up from Sky Sports while that game was on about Manchester United's form with and without Harry Maguire. And I was just like, I can pretty much name every single game that we've won. I think we've lost one of his last 18 or 19 games he started.
Right.
They were all poor games, poor teams.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ads. But as someone who follows Ireland and watches us be shit and watches shit players on a regular basis, he does well against the shit and looks better against, like, Sheffield United should not be a Premier League team.
They are poor. I mean, the fact that we were struggling early doors against them, James, last night was, I was sat there watching it going, what is going on here? This you cannot get any worse than this. And don't get me wrong, towards the end of the game, we got better, obviously. I think Sheffield United blew out, I think they got knackered. Everything was in that first half an hour for them, and they were probably hoping they could sort of ride the emotion of that and United falling down a bit if they managed to get in front. But for me, Harry Maguire, when I looked at it, I thought, well, to be honest, no one else really had a good game. They could have named any United player, and no one really could have argued with a point. I think we only got it because we won the game. But Harry Maguire, there is a big PR on Harry Maguire in a positive way at the moment. I mean, how do you see it? Do you think he's playing well enough to be in this team when everyone's fit, James? Or do you think that he's getting a little bit ahead of himself with these stats and the games that he's actually playing in?
Well, this is where I probably get a lot of hate from the chat and stuff. I like Harry Maguire. I am not one of these people that says he's a shit footballer. I will never say he's a shit footballer. He's played too many times for his country and he's captained his club. He's not shit. Whether he suits the system that the manager wants to play and whether he should be at Manchester United is a completely different question and a different answer. What I said when it came to selling him in the summer is I said that Harry Maguire is more than good enough to be fourth or fifth choice centre back at Manchester United. And people shot me down and they were like, no, he's useless, he's this, he's that. I said, listen, fourth or fifth choice centre back is more than good enough. The issue that I have with that is you've then got a fourth or fifth choice centre back on 180 or 200 grand a week. That's where the issue comes in. The issue isn't in Maguire's quality for me because it's proven that Varane is injury prone. Martinez has not looked the same since coming back from the World Cup last year and has struggled with a recurring injury. Luke Shaw is injury prone at the moment. So it looks like we're going to need depth in the centre-back position. And you can talk about this record and this agenda that has been pushed by Sky, and I do believe it is a bit of an agenda pushed by the English media and pushed by Sky. But if he's got such a good record and 93% or 94% win rate against those lesser teams, then you should play him against those lesser teams. Because if you play him against those lesser teams, then people like Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw can't pick up injuries. And he's obviously good enough in that game because he got man of the match yesterday. And I strongly believe he should have got man of the match. I thought it was a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I thought he was excellent yesterday. And it played completely to his strengths. They played long balls. He's excellent in the air. He won countless aerial duels. And I think he was very, very good. And in certain games, like when you play your West Hams or when you play your Sheffield United or where you play teams like that, then he is good. I think the reasons why Maguire won't work going forward is one, he doesn't suit the system. Two, he's on too many wages. And three, there is kind of backlash from the fan base whenever he makes a mistake. And that is all going to play into stuff. But I'm kind of sick of people saying that he's shit because last night proved he's not shit. But you've just got to judge like game by game. Like what I don't get with the Man United fan base at the moment is like I will come out and say Maguire played really well yesterday, and people are like, "Oh well, just wait, let's see Haaland tear him a new one next week." And I said, "Whoa, they're two different things. He can have played very well last night and still get torn apart by Haaland next week. Like that, they are two separate things. One is commenting on his performance during a game, and one is saying he's good enough for Manchester United going forward as a starting centre back. They are two separate things." So I actually think he played well last night. I think has he got a future at Man United? Not if we want to play a certain way under Ten Hag, but this season he's going to be crucial because we've got centre-backs that are injury prone. He's going to be used in a lot of games. He's going to be needed in a lot of games. So I urge the fan base to get off his back, to get behind Maguire, to support him, because if Manchester United are going to have a successful season, they are going to need Harry Maguire during this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna counter that in a way. I understand everything that James is saying, and if we are going to use him, he is going to rest the likes of Varane when we need Varane, Martinez. That's all good and well, but what I don't want to see is if Harry Maguire, for instance, does not start against Manchester City next weekend, and then everyone goes, "Oh look, there's another one for the start. Harry didn't play, and we ended up losing." It works both ways in a way, doesn't it? So they can sort of make it look like Harry Maguire's stats are standing up because he's left out and we got smashed by City. I guarantee if Harry Maguire plays, we're still going to get smashed by City. Yeah. It's just the way it is. But it's like the stats. It's like last night, I think he was first for passing accuracy. I mean, I don't know how many square passes a centre-back can play. I mean, no one's talking about that brilliant assist that Bruno Fernandes got. There's another stat. The one they passed it to McTominay's head and somehow McTominay scored. But Bruno Fernandes gets the assist. So I look at it and I go, yeah, however agenda-driven you are, you can make stats work both ways. But, I mean, Owen, in terms of what James just said there with Harry Maguire, has he got a place in the squad for you? I mean, you may have an opinion on the starting lineup, but as a squad player, has he got a place?
Look, I don't disagree with any of James's points. I think Harry Maguire is massively over-criticised, like hugely, due to the fact that he plays for Man United. Simple as. Yeah. However, the money he costs, it's not his fault at all. He cost 80 million quid. He's on a lot of money per week. He's on probably about 180, 200 grand a week. You can't be a fifth choice centre back at that. That's simple as. If he was right in terms of doing things the right way for his career, he'd have left and gone to West Ham. that honestly, that would have been the best move for him in terms of his career, and I think he would have flourished well under that system. He is not good. He's not. Look, I think he's a very good footballer. Very good footballer. He is not a. He's not a Man United Champions League top level defender. That is my opinion. I think he's a very good Premier League defender. He is not a top tier. He's way better than like any of us could ever be, but he is not good enough to start week in, week out of Man United. And the idea that he can fill a role in the squad, I think is a joke, to be honest, because of the money he's on. I mean, I'll be completely honest, he should have left. He should have left.
I mean, I completely agree with what you said there. I thought, I'm not going to lie here and just say, I didn't say what I said. I'm all over social media for saying it. I called him a greedy bastard because he had the chance to go to West Ham. And personally, are you looking at it on a personal front for Harry Maguire? He is going to just do what's best for him, like most footballers are. They have a life as well, and we have to sort of remember, it's not just about the football; it's about their own personal lives as well. I understand all of that. I do think he would have been the player that West Ham. I think he would have flourished at West Ham. Personally, I think it's the perfect team for him with David Moyes as the manager, but it is what it is now. He's here, and we cannot criticise Ten Hag for this because he wanted another centre-back in. He offered Harry Maguire a chance to go. He asked the club to get rid of Harry Maguire to make room for someone else. It didn't happen. So Ten Hag has to sort of look at his squad and go, well, right now I'm probably lucky that I've got Maguire because we've got defenders dropping like flies right now. No one can stay fit. Injuries are coming left, right, and centre. It's a nightmare. But Harry Maguire has stepped in against Palace, against Brentford, and against Sheffield United yesterday. Yes, all lesser teams you'd expect United to beat, but he's gone in, he's done the job, and we've got the 3 points in every single one of them games. When everyone's fit, Harry Maguire doesn't start. I think he is a problem in a way that he will not move. That is really one that is griping me, and obviously, like I said what I said. I think it was money related, and you know what? Would any of us done the same in his position? We might have just gone, sod that. You brought me in on this contract. And this is all the fault of Manchester United and the way the club is run more than anyone. It's not Harry. It's not Ten Hag. We're just dealing with the cards that were dealt under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ed Woodward regime while the Glazers were in power still. And we are now being punished for the lack of structure within this football club. And it's going to take years to overcome. Obviously, they are trying to make changes, which brings us on to our next point, James. The Mirror, Disco Dave from the Mirror. I know Dave, I've interviewed him. I spoke to him a few times. Even if Jadon Sancho apologises, see you later, Ten Hag is having enough of it. It's gone too far. I think it's got to a point where if you've not apologised now, as far as I see it, then it's already gone beyond the point of repair. Sancho, for you, James, I don't think I spoke to you regarding this subject. So give me your opinion on Jadon in terms of even if he apologised now, are you the same? Are you see you later with Ten Hag on this one? Or do you see it from the player's side as he's been mistreated? Could Ten Hag have dealt with this better?
I think I'm team Ten Hag on this one, to be honest. I really do. I think if you not to bring him up again, but I think if you bring up the Maguire and Jadon Sancho situations and you look at how they've been handled in terms of they've basically been frozen out, they've been told they've got no future at the club and they're not going to be part of future plans, and you look at the two ways that they've been handled by separate people. One has refused to apologise, taken to social media and said he's been treated unfairly. The other has done double training sessions, worked hard to get back into the team and put in a man of the match performance last night. And I think it shows two completely different attitudes. And I think that attitude, along with skill and attributes and all the other things, is what it takes to be successful at Manchester United. And so far, what I've seen from Jadon Sancho, I saw a hell of a talented player in the Bundesliga. I saw a hell of a talented youth player at Manchester City. But I've not seen any of that at Manchester United. I've not seen any work ethic that I believe that I can get behind that's going to give me any kind of, proof that he's going to work in a Manchester United shirt. And it's unfortunate that we've invested, 80 odd million quid or 75 million quid or whatever in him, because I genuinely don't see it working out, not only with this manager, but with any manager, because I think it takes a special kind of person to work out at Manchester United, because it is it's a pressure cooker, isn't it? It really is. Like, you've seen it with Andre Onana at the moment. Like, one mistake leads to another, and luckily, well, not luckily, but he had a very good performance last night. But that place can just eat you alive. And I think, Sancho's just not got to grips with the size of the task. He's not got to grips with the size of the club. He's not got to grips with the fact that there's speculation on his every move, that every single, we put one tweet out and pinned it or whatever, and it got millions of views within days. And it got reported in every red top newspaper across the country because Manchester United are the biggest click in football. And I just don't think he's the kind of person that can deal with that. Now, I don't know Jadon on a personal level. I'm only guessing from what I've been able to see, but I don't think personally that there's a way back for Jadon Sancho. I'd love him to prove me wrong. I'd love him to come back because we do struggle on that right-hand side, and he could easily display his Anthony with the form he's in, or display his Palestri, or whoever you want to play on that right-hand side, Bruno, Mount. Like a fit, firing, top-level Sancho probably walks into that position, but we've not seen him at Manchester United. So for me, I think it's over for Sancho at United, yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget, guys, give the video a like. We'll try and get the likes up on this one. So smash the like button, everyone. Or you can tap it. You don't have to smash it and break your laptop. Just go at it gently if you want. Well, I mean, Owen, I think I already know the answer to this. Knowing the type of man you are, United fan, Sancho for you, Ten Hag, even if the apology comes in, he's having none of it. Could this have been handled any differently, or is this the forceful management that's been needed at Manchester United more to the point? It's like put a few players in their place.
What have we literally been crying out for the whole time in terms of under Rolly and anyone that, put players in their place, don't make them feel like they run the show. And he's Ten Hag is doing that. So we can't, we're all going to back the manager. And at the end of the day, look, when we signed Sancho, we were all buzzing. I was delighted. I couldn't wait to see him in the United shirt. But he's not hit the heights that he hit at Dortmund. And I think playing for United is a complete different pressure to playing for any other club in the world, because anything you do is scrutinised to a T. And I don't think a lot of players are ready for that. And I honestly think, I'm sad to say it, but I feel like he has to move on. I feel like it's at the point now there's no amending that relationship with him and Ten Hag. And I feel like he will be gone in January. And I feel like that's the correct step forward. Trust me, I'd love to. Look, if he turns around and proves you wrong, I'll hold my hands up straight away. But I feel like that's the only way that he progresses in his career, and I want to see him do well, is he has to leave United. That's simple as. I like the guy, really talented footballer, but I'm just sad it's not worked out.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely not worked out for him. And we're hearing that the Saudi deal is one favourable one in January. I don't know if he'll go back to Dortmund. Yep, there is a Saudi one that cost possibly on the cards now for him.
No, I think Saudi.
Well, this is it. You look at the biggest names in world football. I know they're coming to that time of their career when you're starting to sort of think about hanging the boots up and getting the best deal that you possibly can. I mean, no, Jordan Henderson, we're not going to develop football in Saudi Arabia. You are looking after the next 4 generations of your family by getting stupid money from the Saudi league. Ronaldo doesn't need the money. He's just literally going around the world and destroying as much as he can in each division he goes to. So that's just Ronaldo. He's done that his whole career. So with that, I mean, personally for Jadon, whatever he does, I just don't think, like you guys said, he's got a future at Manchester United. I just don't see it. I don't even think when he's in the squad, he's done anything that sort of dislodges anyone who's playing in front of him. I don't think he's done as much as Anthony has, and Anthony's a question mark for a lot of United fans as well. I think Anthony's got a bit more bite in him. He tracks back better. He's up for a tackle as well. I think Palestri's done more than Jadon Sancho in the times that he's been on the pitch. And to be honest, if he does go, I don't think anyone's going to miss him. I just don't see the point in fighting for a player that hasn't really been that good anyway. And if we are making a stance on these multi-million wage players on the bench, then Sancho's a good start.
Would you know that he's played for us the last 2 years?
Say again?
Would you know that Sancho has played for us?
No, that's what I mean, mate.
Right.
No, we're not going to miss anything, are we? We're not going to miss anything with Jadon Sancho. And like I said, I've done loads of pieces on Sancho. I think the news is going to keep on coming, but I think when January comes, I do think that exit door is where he's going to be heading, personally. And yeah, I don't see him coming back in his team. I don't see where he fits in this team. And we've seen Ten Hag and what he's done with players in the past. Jadon Sancho hasn't got any clout near what Ronaldo has, and we've seen what happened to him. So yeah, see you later, Jadon. I'm not saying that just in a horrible sort of nasty way as to like you've been useless and get out of our club, but we're just saying that because of what we know with Ten Hag and how he treats players. And I don't see any other way for Jadon Sancho to be playing football again except in a different coloured shirt. It's as simple as that. But I mean, guys, moving on. The game last night. James, actually, I'll come to you on this one. Talk me through that first 30 minutes, because that's what a lot of people are forgetting. Obviously, 3 points is 3 points. The style of play, the way we played. I mean, I thought, you know what? After the news of Sir Bobby, the bite, the big build-up and everything, like these guys are going to go out here and show everyone that they belong in them United shirts. My God, mate. I mean, I don't know about you, but they look scared shitless to me.
Yeah, they were so flat. I don't know whether they were emotionally drained from the occasion or whatever, but they were really, really flat. And that first half, to be honest, never mind the first 30 minutes, but the first half was dreadful, to be fair, and really, really poor. I mean, whether you think Ten Hag got his team selection right or wrong, what he did get right is bringing on Christian Eriksen and Garnacho in the second half, because they completely changed the game. I mean, people go on about how good Amrabat was. He was awful in the first half, but as was McTominay and as was Bruno. That midfield three just did not work in the first half. And if you think it did, well, we got out-possessioned and out-controlled by a team that have 1 point and are 20th in the league this season. So it clearly didn't work. And we brought on Christian Eriksen, and Christian Eriksen with Amrabat then controlled the game, and we looked a much better team. Even still not good enough, but we looked much better. But that first half, we were losing all the 50-50s. We just couldn't get near them, to be honest. They were a threat up top. And when they got the penalty, it was probably the least that they deserved. I mean, we didn't really deserve to go 1-0 up. Bruno pinged a ball at McTominay's neck. McTominay did what he does in the box. And he just happened to go all like prime Alan Shearer and just knock it in, didn't he? Like that's what he does if you put him in the box. But it was a madness. Like I don't know what Bruno's doing with that ball. But yeah, I just think our midfield last night was really, really poor. I think Bruno, I don't like talking negative about players. I never like speaking about it. But one thing I don't like is just players giving the ball away needlessly. And there's certain passes that you just never play in football. And playing a square pass with your weak foot across the pitch is like a big, big no-no. And there was a time, it must have been, I think it was the first half, where he's trying to play a switch ball off his left foot. And it gets about a foot off the ground and it goes straight to their player. And I'm just like, what is in your head to play that pass at that moment? Like if you're playing a forward progressive pass to try and get it in the box and it gets intercepted or whatever, or you're trying to play a through ball, I'm like, that's fine. But like there's no pressure on the ball. You're playing this ridiculous switch when you're mainly right-footed. You're not really two-footed anyway. And I just think our midfield were making poor decision after poor decision in that first half. And that's why Sheffield United were the better team. And it wasn't until Ten Hag made the switch that we actually got back into it and looked like winning the game. And in the end, it took a worldie, didn't it, from Dalot to win it? I mean, it was an interesting game for sure. But I think it was, you might be able to understand, I think it was one of those games that if I was in the ground, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it, because it was like Saturday night, Yorkshire rain, like flares going off in the stands, shithouse a win. Like I'd have absolutely loved it if I was in the ground. I'd be going off my nut, like absolutely buzzing all the way home that we've just absolutely got away with one. But when you're watching from home, sometimes it's like, yeah, I want to see a little bit more. I'm still ecstatic we won, and we needed the 3 points more than anything. It was a must-win game, but I still need to see more from Manchester United.
Yeah, I think we can all concur in terms of like the viewing of the game from inside the stadium, especially when it's an away game, is totally different to what you're watching off the pitch. But you've just got the rivalry. You're in the crowd. You're obviously bigging your team up. You're sort of outnumbered. You sort of get involved in it. And you know what? The emotion of yesterday with Sir Bobby and everything like that, them fans were going to be right behind that team from the word go. And they were. And credit to the United fans again. They did themselves proud, as they always do, in the away section of every single ground. Me and you have been there many a times, Owen, mate. But when you're watching it from afar, it's a different ball game, isn't it, mate? And you know what? I'll say this now, though, just to clear it up. I'm not being negative. I actually thought this was the 3 points that we deserved overall in this game, whereas other games this season, there's been few I think we've got away with. But I actually thought we earned the 3 points just yesterday and deserved that win, especially second half. But yeah, the concerns are, again, Owen, I'll come to you on this, is the style of play and where players sort of fit in, because I've seen the second half formation looked like a 3-3-4 to me at times. Lindelof inverted was a bit of a worry, but he ended up getting involved in the goals. Nice pass across for Dello, but the style of play, Owen, is that a worry for you? Because it scares the life out of me.
For a second, ads that I remember being on here to you about a couple of years ago during COVID when we couldn't go, and I remember you saying to me, "Owen, a fucking away day, an away day." When we have that, and like I was meant to go yesterday, but I had to go with the missus' family in Ireland this weekend, so that's why I wasn't there. But like, lad, I couldn't imagine anything better than being in that away end when Dada scored. Like, I went mental in the bar watching it. Like, I could not imagine like the feel. Like you all know, like if you could bottle the feeling of scoring that goal and being in that away end, you'd be a fucking billionaire, because it is the best feeling in the entire world. But yeah, in terms of style of play, that it doesn't look right at the minute, and I honestly don't know what to say about it, because we look like we progress in certain games, but when we do seem to get the style of play right, the results don't go right. Like, I'll be honest, I would rather shit house our way to wins than get a style to play right and lose or draw. Like, I think we're all in the same boat in that respect. So,
do you feel like that's just like the emotion of going to an away game or a game, the build up, and then coming away and just having a win, rather than a long term sort of look on it as like, this isn't really going to go far in the long run. We're not going to win a league. We're not going to get back to the title winning days.
But tell me, look, I'm being honest here, ads, you know, I'm the most optimistic fucker that ever existed. At any point in the last 10 years, tell me a point where we thought we were going to win a league.
Oh, this is it, mate. This is like going on for a long time now. It's manager after manager after manager, and it doesn't seem to change, does it? It's like,
but we're not. Look, man, at the start of the season, I was well optimistic because in all honesty, if you're following football and you don't have hope, like, what is the point of even doing it? Lad,
Can I just touch on that point? Because I've had it with a couple of people on Twitter today, because there was a video going around of someone not celebrating the goal. And they were like, I can't, when Dallo like banged it in from 25 yards, and they're like, nah, I'm not bigging him up. He's awful. He doesn't deserve that. And I'm just like, when you take the emotion out of football like that,
mate,
it's like, it's supposed to be a team you support. I don't get it. The best video I've seen all weekend, right, is Sir Bobby talking about 99. It's doing the rounds at the moment. And you listen to him talk about being 1-0 down and him just having that belief. And you listen to him, you know, when that goal went in, and then when Solskjaer scored the goal and he had to apologise to these like FIFA dignitaries because he ended up a couple of rows down and he's falling over people. And I just, like, that is football. Like, that's emotion. And if you take emotion...
Mate, I was at Stoke away when Rooney got his record breaker. It was 1-1, and I fucking fell down a couple of rows and kissed ball geezers on their heads. Like, it's football, it's emotion, and if you try and like big yourself up and try and remove that from it, why do you even bother? Because like, football for all of us and in life, it's an escape. And it's what makes us feel a little bit, feel like we're part of something a bit bigger than we are, and it's beautiful, and it's an amazing moment. So why the fuck would you try and devalue those moments? Enjoy those moments. It's beautiful, man. So people that go on like that, I see them on Twitter all the time, going on like, oh, you're celebrating this league, mate. Yeah, of course I am.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
you've got to. This is your team. Not far away from the 100 likes, guys. Keep them coming in. So Ginger there actually brought up Rashford, who I wanted to. Let's address the elephant in the room. Mr. Rashford offering nothing at the moment. No work rate, no goals, can't cross, can't pass. Doesn't get back a help out. He's full back. He might run and score. I mean, I didn't think Rashford's first half. I thought he put some good crosses in to the box in the first half. I think he did a lot of things that people have complained about him not doing, James, in that first half. I mean, I thought Højlund was unlucky to get on the end of one. There was another one he dug out, which was decent. And honestly, I just thought, you know what? He's probably been dug out a little bit there. He had a decent week against with England. I don't think he was that bad. I mean, Rashford's, I understand people's concerns, though. 30 goals last season, 1 in 12, I think, this season so far. Not good, mate. But his overall performance, what did you rate him as yesterday?
I thought he was okay yesterday, but I think in general our front three wasn't great. But things could have been very different. Like you say, if Højlund anticipates that ball into the box, which is fantastic from Rashford, then he gets an assist and people don't complain. But unfortunately, at the moment, like I love Marcus Rashford, and he's obviously not in the best of form. But I think what he's suffering from is this fan base loves the scapegoat sometimes. And I don't know if you saw it, but when he went on the run and scored for England, there's people that screenshot that moment when he's about to go on a run and they were like, look, he's made the wrong decision. He didn't pass to Kane in loads of space. This is why he's awful. I'm like, the guy scored. Like, the guy scored. You can't freeze frame. Like, football doesn't work like that. Like, he got us 30 goals last season by going on runs and scoring. Like, he doesn't make that pass in the situation. There was another time last week when he should have shot and he made a pass. So it's like, I just think people sometimes, they like to have a scapegoat. Marcus Rashford is that scapegoat at the moment. And he's not having the season that he was having last season. And I remember countless times last season, I feel like it was me, you and Graham against the world, banging the Harry Kane drum and saying that, you know, how good this guy was and how well he fit into our team. And all we got back is, no, he's overrated, he's British, he's a bottle job, he doesn't win trophies, he's this, he's injury prone, he's old, he's that. Well, our front three combined between 5 players have 1 goal. Harry Kane has 10 goals and 5 assists this season in the Bundesliga. So for people that say that he wouldn't have improved our team, I think you're absolutely smoking crack.
Yeah, specific.
I mean, I can't fucking disagree at that point,
man. Super chat in from Conrad. I wanted to bring you in on this one, actually, Owen, because I think you're probably the right man to answer this question, but I'll just bring it up on the screen now. People saying we have no style of play need to remember we are in second season with a new manager. Liverpool, Arsenal and City have had years and years of building. Give Ten Hag and the players time. The players, do we give them time? Owen, there's a few shipped out, but I mean, I've said Ten Hag needs time. I've wanted to keep Ten Hag. There's concerns, and I know the natural way that things work in football. If we didn't get that win yesterday, we don't get through Copenhagen, City beat us, Newcastle beat us, out of 2 competitions. You can see the knives being sharpened, can't you, mate? But ultimately, is it about leaving a manager in place who's sort of making big decisions off the pitch and building the culture? Will the football come if you give him time?
I fucking hope it does. Like, that's my genuine honesty. I hope it does. And I can see something with Ten Hag. I can see a future that he's building to. I can see what he's trying to do. And I hope it's right. And that's all we can kind of do. We don't know the ins and outs. We don't know what goes on in the day-to-day. But it's the first time in years that you know how much I backed Ollie when he was in. And I loved him. But, like, lads, like, Ollie was like when you had a supply teacher at school. Like we were just having a crack. Like, we were like whatever came with it was happy days. Like, with Ten Hag, it genuinely does feel like we are building to something. And honestly, look, I know you're saying about knives being sharpened. Like, if we go out of the Champions League, I'll be absolutely devastated, and I would actually rather us go completely out of Europe than go into Europa. Because I've had enough fucking dreadful nightmares.
I think every United fan is actually the nightmares of that tune in their heads.
Mate, if I have to hear that theme tune, mate, I was in Seville when we lost 3-0. Like, when I say depression, like, this not even the word. But, like, look, I know you're on about nice being sharpened or whatever, but I am confident. Look, I know what happened against Gala or whatever. I am confident we will actually get out of the group. I think we'll get 2 positive results against Copenhagen. And I think we will beat Gala away. And I think Bayern would already be through, and we will do Bayern at home. And I feel like we can turn it around. I really feel like we can turn this around. I'm not saying that we're going to win the fucking league or win the Champions League, but I feel like we can still have a good season. We can definitely still have a good season. I think there's the level of negativity, and look, trust me, my main reason for being negative about United at the moment is Onana. Like, I was so excited about it when we signed him, but honestly, like literally, I remember seeing him. I literally put a photo of. I got a photo of me and De Gea years ago. I put the old take that, like, whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. I just want you back, mate. Honestly, like Dave's just sat there at home, like he's living around Hales, like I'm honestly at that point now, like just give him a contract.
I mean, it's absolutely it's a strange one how De Gea is still not playing football. That is like weird. Like, for me, I just don't understand that at all. I thought surely someone is going to snap him up, but I mean, Onana, I said it. What game was it now? I think it was before the Brentford one, but even the Brentford one, he nearly lost it for us again. It looks like a bag of nerves, mate. I'm really worried about him. He had a good game, though, yesterday, like James said. I mean, spade's a spade. You call it as it is, and we always do. And I always do on this channel. It's like, he had a good game yesterday. He made some decent saves. And you know what? One thing that I'm not worried about, he actually does come and claim a good ball. That's not one thing I've got to worry about with Onana. He really does control his box well and clean up. But some of them shots, I mean, I think someone just needs to stand there and ping balls at him in training and just strengthen up his wrist or something. Just because he's clearly in the right position, but he just doesn't move.
But De Gea would make mistakes, right? And he did.
Plenty of them, yeah.
Yes, but how many a season? 3, 4, max. How many has Onana made this season alone? Like I'm going into games now. I'm going into games now thinking, like, we could probably do this, but if someone has a shot at Onana, he'll fuck it up. Like, that's what I'm thinking in the back of my mind when I go into a game.
What's amazing is if you look yesterday at the Chelsea-Arsenal game as well, and you look at Sanchez and you look at Raya, and then you look at Onana this season until yesterday, like, De Gea's stock is growing and he's not even playing. Like, he's sat at home and, like, he's getting better in people's minds.
No one signed De Gea? Can we just please address that? Like what? Like, how is no one...
It's weird with the goalkeepers, isn't it?
Mate, that's like Margot Robbie walking into the local and getting ignored by all the geezers. Like, that's what it is like.
Hi, Barbie. That's what it is, isn't it?
Mate, it's just not... It just doesn't make any sense. He's one of the greatest goalkeepers that ever existed.
I'm with you. I'm like literally with you on that. De Gea one is weird. Chat from the member there. It's probably one of my longest serving members, Anthony. Cheers for that, mate. I'll play Garnacho over Rashford because of form. I think one thing we can criticise Ten Hag for, it's like some of the players when they do come on and they make an impact. And I want to get your opinion, James, on this as well, because a lot of people have talked about Christian Eriksen as well. He comes on, he changed the game yesterday. Is he an impact sub? Is that his role at Manchester United? And Garnacho again never really seems to do it when he starts. He's more of an impact. So when will Ten Hag have to make that call and say, you know what? This guy is getting his agent in his ear. He's telling him you're now in the Argentina squad every time. You're in playing with the world champions every international break, but you've got a failing striker in Marcus Rashford ahead of you. Is this a concern? Should I be not looking into this? But we know the reality of football. When will Ten Hag make that decision and say, look, yeah, he probably deserves to start more games here, and he will drop the likes of Rashford if he isn't cutting it?
I don't think that's happening anytime soon, mate. I really don't. And I also think people look at things, right, and they go, and they have a bit short-termism, and they think that, like, oh yeah, Christian Eriksen should be starting games when he came on yesterday and controlled it. But then the majority of our problems last season came after Eriksen came back from injury, after he got the injury against Reading when Andy Carroll snapped him. And he just couldn't play 90 minutes. We saw it in the derby against City. Like, he was gassed after 45 minutes, had to come off. And the thing with Garnacho, whenever he started this season, with the exception of one game, he's been pretty poor. But whenever he's come on, he's been very good. So he's definitely an impact player. We saw it with McTominay. McTominay came on, great impact player against Brentford, scored the 2 goals. Ten Hag rewarded him with a start, and he didn't perform. Yeah, I know he got a goal, but he didn't perform. He was relatively poor yesterday. So I think there's a difference between people that are going to make an impact off the bench and people that can last 90 minutes. Because you've got to remember, when Garnacho's coming on off the bench, you've got fullbacks that have been running up and down the pitch for 70 minutes. So Garnacho's very direct. So the last thing you want as a fullback to see after 70 minutes when you're gassed out your mind is someone that's going to be direct and quick and running at you. That's the last thing you want to happen. So I think he's the perfect impact sub. I think he will get some minutes because we're going to play in a few cup competitions and he'll get some starts. But I don't think he's going to start in the league. And I had this argument last season with people, like at the end of last season. They were like, give Garnacho the 7 shirt and he'll start loads of games this season. I said, I guarantee he starts less than 15 games in the Premier League. And they were like, no chance. And I'm like, of course he won't. Like, Rashford's his competition on the left. And if Højlund comes in, like if Højlund's a success, then Rashford's going to play on the left wing. The only way that Garnacho gets games is if Højlund's not a success, he puts Rashford through the middle and then Garnacho gets games on the left. Because Garnacho is never starting the majority of games over Marcus Rashford. It's just not going to happen. Like, Marcus Rashford is Manchester United at this point, and Ten Hag has come out over and over again and said how much he loves him. And on the point that someone brought up with the super chat before about a style of play in Bruno and Rashford, I've heard someone speak about this, and I kind of agree. And I think that if you're blaming 2 players for not being able to play a certain style of play, then what the hell are your other 9 players doing? Like, I would put that down to the manager. I really would. Like, if the manager's got 9 people that buy into his system and 2 that don't, then those 9 people should be able to show something about how you want to play. And I don't think all the blame lies on Bruno and Rashford at all. I really, really don't. So, yes, they may not fit into his system ideally, but is Garnacho going to start ahead of Rashford? No. Is Eriksen going to start ahead of Mount? No. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Owen, like Wes says there, do you think we need another striker? Should we be looking?
Look, man, you know, I follow on massively. Like, I'd have fucking absolutely love for us to sign Ferguson. That would have been my dream signing for us. To see Ferguson come in. I actually weirdly I met John O'Shea at Ascot in the summer, and he actually said, I don't know if he was meant to tell me because he was a bit pissed, but he said that the plan was actually to sign Højlund and Ferguson in the summer, but then Ferguson signed the new contract.
That's because Brighton are very clever.
No, of course they are, and 100%. You got to protect your asset. But like, look, we should 110% be signing someone. Look, I like Højlund. I think Højlund's a quality striker, and I think Højlund can be. It's weird to say, but like, I didn't really see Van Nistelrooy, but like from what my brother says about Van Nistelrooy to me, it seems like he's that kind of player, and I feel like
I've heard that, but that's a big shout by that because I think he's the greatest ever striker that we've had at the club in terms of pure striker. So that's a big shout. Big shout. I have heard that comparison from people, but it's a big reach at this moment because like Van Nistelrooy is level.
Yeah, I think the comparison, James, with that, I think is the attitude, that a will to win that you can see that Højlund has got, and he's one of them that the crowd loves. Van Nistelrooy, oh man, I used to see him punching the ground because he couldn't keep a ball in play. The passion that the man showed in his early days was just ridiculous. But yeah.
And what I will say to you, in terms of what we had in the last few years, in terms of the older strikers and lads that are towards the end of their career, and I don't mind that to a degree as a backup, but like, is that what you do again? Is that what you keep?
Oh, we lost Owen there. Oh, signal's gone just at the right time. Yeah, I mean, Van Nistelrooy's stats stand out on their own, like Wes says there. 152 goals in 201 games for Ruud. His ratio was better than anyone's in that chart for Manchester United all-time goal scorers. The fact that he actually got himself in there and amongst them big names in such a short space of time is frightening how good the man actually was. But let's not forget, Van Nistelrooy had Giggs, he had Beckham, he had Ronaldo, he had Rooney, he had Keane. Oh my God, it makes me want to cry again. It's like watching the David Beckham documentary all over again and just looking at what we used to be. I mean, Before I went, I wanted to get your opinion on this and everyone else's as well. Obviously, United need to change off the pitch as well as on it. Paul Mitchell, Director of Football, James, good move for you in terms of the right man to come in, or is there anyone else you would look at? Basically, a Director of Football would be good in general, mate, wouldn't it? But I think right now, if we haven't got the money, which it sounds like, we need to be savvy, we need to be clever. This man has got a track record of finding deals and making deals happen. Is this the right move for us?
I think if you look at what we've got, then it's 100% an improvement on what we've got in that position, right? If you look at his track record, it's pretty good. I don't think he's currently tied to a club, right? I think he left Monaco at the beginning of October, but when he left Monaco, they were top of the league. Nice are coincidentally top of the league at the moment. But I think he's done a decent job wherever he's been. And United are currently working on a budget, whether you want to believe that or not. I think 7 out of Ten Hag's 15 signings have been either free or on loan. So that's pretty crazy. So we need to work within a budget. We need someone to go out and identify talent. I know Owen brought up Brighton before, and you brought up how good their structure is. I mean, if you could implement their structure, you'd save a lot of money. I mean, the amount of players that they bring in for 3 to 10 million and sell on for 50 to 100 million is quite frankly ridiculous. And the problem with United over the past 18 years, and I've said this about the Glazers numerous times, it's not the fact that we haven't spent money as a football club. It's the fact that we've spent it very, very poorly and they've taken money out of the football club. But we've actually spent money. We've spent probably as much, if not more money than anyone else in that time frame. It's just of that 1.3 billion pounds that we've spent, you're looking at probably 100 million or less that's been a success. So we need to seriously evaluate how we spend money. And to do that, you would think that a director of football is required. And you've got to fancy that Paul Mitchell is probably a better shout than Murta. And anyone else? I mean, maybe you could get Ralph back in for one last hurrah. I don't know. But that's maybe gone.
No.
Oh, you're upsetting him now.
I'm messed in.
No. I
I'm
was all aboard Ralph's Tricky Reds. I was all about it. But my God, that man sent me into a fucking depression. I am not.
But that 30 minutes against Palace, Owen. That 30 minutes against Palace. Come on, man. That 14-2-2. Madness.
We looked half decent, and Fred got us out of jail with a fucking bang.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, mental.
Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph was the one. It's like he talked a brilliant game, didn't he? And there is a role in football for that man. Whether it's at United or not, I don't think that ship has sailed. Maybe it was a director of football role for him.
But that was the thing I was most excited about, was him. Once he had the interim role, he was meant to be going into that.
Yeah.
And then got fucking removed. What was the point of him?
Yeah.
Mate, he just gave me depression. He literally just gave me depression.
That is United's operating day to day at its finest. That bring a man in, set a plan, get everyone excited, and then go back on that plan.
I was at Palace away, celebrating the fact that City won the league, not Liverpool.
Yeah, I was there, mate.
Actually bouncing that day.
Yeah,
and we were losing the game 1-0. No one was watching the game. Everyone was watching their phone, making sure the Scousers didn't win 20. That was all like Ranić. Honestly, I that man gives me terrors. His name just, oh my God,
Ralph.
Oh my God,
that is what it is all about, isn't it? Oh, man, we've been through some absolute dross seasons, haven't we? I mean, looking ahead, guys, I'm going to ask you both now. 3 competitions in 1 week, starting with Copenhagen, then City, then Newcastle. Are we still going to be in any? Oh, I don't think we're in the Premier League anyway, but give me your predictions, James. Them 3 games coming up. I'm going to hold you to it when we do another show, another time as well. So let me know what you think, mate. How do you see it going? Give me a prediction for them 3 games. Are we going to be in the Champions League? We're going to be in the Carabao Cup? Are we going to be mid-table United again? Or actually, crazily, 3 points behind City if we bleed and win that derby at Old Trafford? That is just mental saying that on its own.
Mate, we beat him. I'm getting my kit off. Kit off. Dean's getting locked straight away.
Yeah. I think it's listen, I'm usually massively optimistic, so I'm going to try and be as optimistic as I can do. I think we beat Copenhagen quite comprehensively at Old Trafford. I do. I think we beat them by 2 or 3 goals. So I think we keep our Champions League hopes alive in terms of progressing. And then we've got the derby. I'm going to say it's going to be really hard fought, like 1-1 draw. I'm going to go for a draw, so we'll still be 6 points behind City. And then I'm going to go positive again and say we'll knock Newcastle out on penalties.
Okay.
Hold
Owen,
me to that.
I can see a clean sweep for you. You started to start having a drink there, so I can already predict what's coming here.
No, I've had a drink to settle the nerve, but like you can.
That was just Ralph talking. Look, Ralph, we needed a drink.
Look, mate, I had a tough week. But like honestly, look, as I always say, if you're not an optimist in football, why are you in it? And yeah. I think we'll come to beat Copenhagen. And if we don't, I will cry. I feel like we should win that 2-3-0, like easily, in my opinion. And City, I'm praying for a beautiful moment. Like I'm praying for a moment that I'll remember that we win 2-1, 2-1, 1-0. I don't give a shit what it is as long as we hit them blue cunts. But then as well for Newcastle, I feel like we will happily do Newcastle away in the Carabao, mainly because it's at home. If we were playing at St James's Park, I would say that we would be out. But the fact that we're at home, I think we will do Newcastle. I think probably 2-1 or 2-0.
I bet. Loving the positivity, guys. We have to wrap it up there. We've gone over an hour. That's flown by there tonight. But cheers for everyone in the chat. Cheers for the super chat, the new members. Absolutely brilliant. Stay tuned for more content coming up this week. It's a big one. Plenty of football and some big games like we've just discussed then. God knows where we'll be this time next week. I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about, you'd probably be just after the game in the pub celebrating Man United beating City and being 3 points behind the champions. Oh, yes. Here we go. Guys, cheers for tuning in. James, cheers for coming on. Owen, absolutely brilliant as always. Good to have you back, lads. Good stuff. Don't forget, guys, hit the subscribe button. Give the video a like on the way out. Share the video. We will be back this week. Guys, take it easy. Good luck this week. I'm sure I'll see you in passing in one of these games. But fingers crossed United can get us, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to jinx it. But, guys, cheers for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you through the week.